and welcome back to my channel. It is October. We are in the midst of horror movie marathons, 31 days of Halloween countdowns, or however many movies you can fit into this month, and I decided to create a video of the most essential movies to watch during the Halloween season. So let's get started. I can't make a movie list like this without talking about Halloween, the Halloween franchise. So there are several movies in this franchise, not all of them good, but they are just essential to watch, have on rotation throughout the Halloween season. AMC Fear Fest usually has them going pretty much daily, and this October AMC Fear Fest is running from October 1st to 31st, so you can catch these probably often. So the one I'm going to recommend the most is, of course, Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween from 1978. This is the one that introduced us to Michael Myers, the shape, and set everything into motion. This one is beautiful, it's scary as hell, and it has an amazing score, and it set the tone for what slashers should really be about, and it gave us a Halloween boogeyman, so thank you for that. And the other ones in the series that I think stand out to me that I watch on rotation every year is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Some people don't like this one. It's not a Michael Myers story, but I happen to love it. I think it captures the essence of Halloween, the wackiness of it, and it has pretty cool theme song and masks in it, silver shamrock, and it just feels like Halloween, and I love that it's different. I love that it's not Michael Myers, and it's smart and just bizarre, and I love it. And then another one that I love is Halloween 4. This is the one I watched the most growing up. I think I just connected with the Jamie character, and I love Danielle Harris. I think she's so just adorable, and you really want to protect her in this. And also her sister Rachel is a great character, and I just think this one was a fun re-entry back into the Michael Myers world after Halloween 3, and it's essential to watch. Obviously all of them are worth watching, but I'm just picking out my favorites. I think that Halloween 2018 is worth a watch, especially with Halloween Kills coming out. We are just spoiled with Halloween. Then I am going to recommend Haunt. This is a 2019 film that was directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, who I believe wrote The Quiet Place, but I could be wrong. But anyway, this was a fun Halloween slasher that it follows a group of college kids who coincidentally stumble upon a haunt, and they figure out that the stuff going on there is actually real. I think this one, it has some really fun, unique villains and some likable characters, and it's just a good time. Then I'm going to recommend Trick or Treat. This is an essential Halloween themed anthology. It introduced us to Sam. This is just a blast. It has an amazing werewolf transformation scene. It reminds you to follow the rules of Halloween, and it's incredibly charming. What else can you ask for? Why did my voice do that? I'm just getting emotional over here. Then I'm recommending Sleepy Hollow. This is one of my favorites because I love Sleepy Hollow and the Headless Horseman, but I just think it's a gothic, beautiful ghost story. It's so terrifying. It is so dark and mysterious and just stunning. And it just has those Halloween vibes that I need. And it gave me Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci as a couple, and I wish they were that in real life. Then The Exorcist. This is not a Halloween movie per se, but it's a classic possession story, and also a story that deals with faith. And I love religious horror. I think that this is a must watch for the Halloween season. It just feels like it's taking place during Halloween. It's so dark and cold and gross, just vomit, and I think that it's essential for Halloween. Next is The Changeling. This is a classic ghost story that I've talked about several times on my channel now. It stars George C. Scott as a composer. He moves into a haunted mansion after the tragic death of his wife and daughter, and he learns that his house is haunted, and he investigates, and it's creepy, it's great, classic. Next is Ginger Snaps. This is an essential Halloween movie. They all are essential. Why am I saying that for every single one of them? So this is about a girl. She gets attacked by a werewolf and then starts turning into one. This is an allegory for puberty, and it's done so well. It's so brilliant. It's so funny, and it's filled with a lot of heart, and the two female characters are incredible. The chemistry is off the charts, and I wish that we had more Ginger Snaps, and we had more Ginger and Bridget in our lives. We need another one. Come on. I know it's kind of hard to do, but whatever. Then I'm recommending Night of the Demons from 1988. This is a cheesy 80s camp fest about a group of kids that have a party on Halloween night in a funeral parlor, and they host a seance which brings on the demons. You can't hold a seance in a funeral home, guys. There's also a remake from the 2000s that I also think is pretty fun. I think it's from 2009, and it stars Ed Furlong and Monica Keena, and I think it's fun. It's just great, and I think both of them are enjoyable to watch back to back. Then I'm gonna recommend Rosemary's Baby. This is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. The director is a piece of shit, unfortunately, but this story isn't his, I'd like to say. It's Ira Levin's, and I hope Ira Levin isn't a piece of shit, but I didn't look. You never know. But anyway, this is a classic story about a woman who becomes pregnant, and she begins to suspect that her neighbors are doing stuff to harm the baby. This is so beautiful. It's so haunting, and it really plays into those female fears and paranoia, and I love the apartment setting. It's just a must for this time of the year. Then I'm recommending Hell House LLC, which is a found footage horror about a group of kids that renovate a old house to turn it into a haunt, and they learn it's really haunted, and they learn they messed up, okay? Then House is October Built. This is also another haunt themed horror movie. This is a found footage, but this is extreme haunt, and yeah, you can't go looking for real extreme haunts and then get pissed when you find one. You know what I'm saying? Then we gotta recommend Tales of Halloween. This is an anthology, Halloween themed anthology movie, and it's just filled with some fun stories that are just fun to chill out and watch on Halloween. Next is The Amityville Horror. I think this is a classic haunted house story about George and Kathy Lutz, who move into a home that was previously belonged to the DeFeo family, who all were murdered, and the house is haunted, okay? Things don't go well for George and Kathy Lutz, and we get to watch it unfold, and it's pretty terrifying. Then I'm recommending The Monster Squad. I think this is perfect for Halloween. It is about a group of kids that are monster kids. They're all like you and me. They're all like us, and they love horror movies, the classic monsters in particular, and they realize that Dracula has come to their town, and he's brought his monster friends, and it's up to them to stop them and save the town. It's just a kid's wildest dream come true, if you ask me. Then I'm recommending The Blair Witch Project. This is just classic found footage. It's the one that set the game, elevated the found footage game, and it's iconic. And it's about a group of kids, student filmmakers, who go looking for a witch in the woods, and they find her. Then I'm recommending Deadly Friend from Wes Craven. This is a modern day Frankenstein story. It's about a genius kid who brings back one of his friends to life after they die, but they don't come back the same. And it's just fun. It's just fun, man. And sad and moving. I'm reading the book right now, and it's pretty good. Then I'm recommending Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses. This also takes place on Halloween. It is about a group of friends who are trying to travel across the world and see a bunch of spooky destinations, and they stumble upon Captain Spaulding's, and on their way home, they pick up a hitchhiker, and then their car breaks down, and they find themselves at this girl's house, and it's crazy. It's probably full of 1,000 corpses, and it's a gritty, dirty Halloween movie. Then there's May, another modern Frankenstein story. This is about a lonely girl who doesn't really have anybody in her life, and she decides to make a friend. And it's scary, it's sad, and it's touching. Then I'm recommending Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead, he's a fucking pumpkin. What more, how much more Halloween can you get? Is he really a pumpkin? Because I don't think he looks like a pumpkin, now that I think about it. But anyway, this story is about a dad whose son is tragically killed, and he summons Pumpkin Man to get revenge. It's a really sad story, and it's got some really cool kills though, and an amazing, incredible monster design. Then is Hellfest. This is another haunt-themed Halloween movie about a group of kids who attend this amusement park that is essentially like Halloween Horror Nights, and they get stalked by a killer there. It's fun, it's great, it's my worst nightmare. Then Idle Hands. This is a slasher comedy about a slacker named Anton whose hand gets a mind of its own. It gets possessed by the devil and starts killing people, and it's just so funny, and I feel like people don't appreciate this movie enough, and they need to. Then The Return of the Living Dead. This is one of my favorite zombie movies of all time, and it's just so much fun. It is kind of self-aware of of itself, and it just pokes fun at itself, and it's pretty funny, and it's just over the top cheesy fun. Then I'm recommending The Autopsy of Jane Doe. This is a movie that I love so much. I love that it is set in a mortuary that is run by a father and son, and they get this body in from the town police, and they're told that they need a cause of death by the next morning. So they start working on this body, and they uncover some pretty dark secrets, and things go crazy. And it's like a slow burn, but it is so incredibly unsettling, and it has great performances by Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch. Next, you can't have a Halloween marathon without the Universal monsters, and I recommend watching The Wolfman. That's one of my favorites. It's about a normal guy who gets bit by a werewolf and then turns into one. It's sad. It's really got some great werewolf transformation effects, and it's a classic, obviously. Then I also recommend The Bride of Frankenstein. I like this one over Frankenstein. I just think it's a much better story. We get to really see Frankenstein's monster in the wild, and we get to meet the bride, and she's just beautiful, and it's just a beautifully sad tragedy, and I just love it. I love it. Who doesn't want to cry on Halloween? Then we gotta recommend Night of the Living Dead. It's classic. It's a classic zombie movie. It is the one that basically created the modern day zombie that we know and love today. It's about a woman who is visiting her father's grave site with her brother, and then they get attacked by the undead, and she seeks refuge in a farmhouse with a bunch of strangers. That is the blueprint for zombie everything. I just think it's a perfectly done film at such a low budget. Like, what they accomplished with this is amazing, and I love it. It's my comfort movie. I could put this on and go to sleep. Then I'm recommending Psycho. This is the Alfred Hitchcock classic about Norman Bates, the caretaker at the Bates Motel, who has serious mummy issues. There's murder, mayhem, and what else could you ask for on Halloween? Am I right? Then recommending Scream from 1996. This is a classic slasher that everyone loves. It's meta, it's self-aware, it's funny, it's clever, and it's also scary. Then I'm recommending House on Haunted Hill. I'm including both of them on this list because they're both a necessity. They're both haunted house necessities, and they differ so much. I think that the 1999 remake is more stylish and more gory and jump scary, and the original is more subtle and mysterious, and the performances by Vincent Price, oh, he's just amazing in it. And I just love his macabre relationship with his wife in the film. It's just so charming, even though they're just like talking about murdering each other. It's just fantastic, and I love it. Then Salem's Lot. I think Salem's Lot is the most Halloween-ish Stephen King story. It's about a man who returns to his hometown of Salem's Lot to write a book about the town's infamous haunted house, and vampires return to the town as well, and they start infecting people, and the town starts getting turned into vampires, and it's terrifying. There's one of the most terrifying scenes ever of a kid floating outside a window trying to ask his friend to let him in. Don't ever let a vampire in, okay? And that scene scared my tits off. Then we have The Omen. This is a classic story about the Antichrist. It's about a family who basically raised the devil, or the son of the devil, and it's really terrifying. The score, the death scenes, and it's like asks that question, like, what would you do if you found out your kid wasn't really your kid and he was the son of the devil? Would you kill him to save the world before he turned into a monster, or would you protect him at all costs? I don't know what I'd do. I wouldn't have kids. That's what I would do. Then next, I'm recommending House of the Devil, which is another haunted house horror that is essential. It just has those Halloween vibes. It's about a young college student who takes a odd babysitting job at this house. Has some weird stuff going on, and her night is kind of ruined. Then I'm recommending Stir of Echoes with Kevin Bacon. This is another haunted house horror about a skeptic man, who basically he lets his sister-in-law put him under hypnosis, and when he wakes up from hypnosis, he begins experiencing paranormal activity. He starts seeing ghosts, and he decides to investigate, and it's creepy as hell. Then Fright Night. How can you not watch Fright Night on Halloween? I'm saying this about every movie, like, how can you not watch this? Basically every movie. Fright Night is a classic, a vampire classic. It takes a modern spin on the Dracula story. It combines it with Rear Window. So it's about a kid who thinks his next door neighbor is a vampire and nobody believes him. So it's just fun, it's clever, and it's got some beautiful, beautiful people. Beautiful vampire. I would let Chris Sarandon bite my neck, if you know what I'm saying. So then I'm gonna recommend Evil Dead. Honestly, all of the Evil Dead movies I would recommend for the month of Halloween, but I think if you can only watch one, you gotta go with the first one. So this is about a group of kids who stay at a cabin and then they unleash the dead. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Then The Haunting from 1963. This is a classic haunted house story. It's based on the Shirley Jackson novel The House on Haunting Hill, and it's about a group of people who are invited to stay in a haunted house to basically document their stay. And this one is really subtle. It's more psychological, and it's more about what you can't see that is terrifying. So it plays on your senses, and I just think it's a brilliantly done film. And then House of Wax. House of Wax feels like a movie that was from the 80s, but it was made in 2005. This one is about a small town. Like, it has a creepy small town that these kids stumble into after their car breaks down and they seek help. And they find this weird, creepy wax museum and things go crazy. This is just so, I love the small town. I love that it's just this eerie small town that is where everybody is just a wax figure, and I think it's just a fun blast. And I think a lot of people have turned around on this one and come around to love it now, and it's because it's fun. It's a fun movie with some really good effects. And lastly, I'm recommending The Sentinel. This is another classic haunted house story. It's about a model who moves into an apartment building and she discovers it's haunted. It might be a portal to hell. Who knows? There are so many movies to watch. So many. Another one that I love, which it's kind of feels more like thriller-y to me, is Dark Night of the Scarecrow. This is about a man who is murdered by a group of vigilantes and he comes back for revenge, and it's just a really well done film, and I love anything having to do with scarecrows. So, and of course there's tons of family friendly movies that you need to watch, like Ernest Scared Stupid is one of my absolute faves. Hocus Pocus is a must. Halloween Town, Mom's Got a Date with the Vampire, Double Double Toil and Trouble. They're all so good. If you want more lists like this, let me know, but I do create lists on my Letterboxd, which is linked in the descriptions, so you can see other movies that I'm planning to watch throughout the month of October. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to any of these. It's just overwhelming. It's a wonderful time to be a horror fan, and I hope you guys are enjoying the spooky season and watching all the horror, eating all the candy, and I hope you go trick-or-treating this year, because I want to go trick-or-treating, and I hope you have a good time. So let me know in the comments down below what you plan on watching, if any of these movies are on your list, and yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time. Bye.